Hey there, folks, and welcome to the next 155 Cup My Power Tryouts. In this tryouts, I'm doing the Suzuki Carry KC 2012 with the K plus 4 motor, or K and 4 motor. Well, here's parts and things you can do to the 2 and 4 motor of the Suzuki KC 2012, which, for those that are curious what the 2 and 4 is, it's a bike car that Honda made as a sort of prototype, I would say, for this case. But for a bike motor, it's a V-type 4-cylinder, so it's a bit of a beefy a little bit on that part. And especially for K cars, this motor gets very wild with them, I will say. And there is a lot of small cars that have this example of this motor. And I don't mean just K cars, there are certain small cars like the Fiat 500 can also have this too, which sooner or later you'll end up seeing that eventually. But for now, for this list I did mostly the K cars, so eventually down the line you'll see the Fiat 500. Bring it back to the pizzeria, but for now, the Carry KC is the one that gets to wear it. I will say I think there might be another one, but I might be wrong on that department at the end of the day. But yeah, this is overall the Suzuki Carry KC, and yeah, 271 horsepower. That is a lot of horsepower for a little bike motor. Now, as the saying goes, you can put a wide body, and the engine swap is just a 2 and 4 as of now, until they add some other kind of motor. But for now, that's what it is. And here is the rims of what you can do to it. This is the other customization and such. But there is a lot of customization you can do to this truck, especially when you add the wide body. The wide body gives you that roll cage in the back, just to say, because otherwise you wouldn't get that on the regular road version. So if you want that roll cage on the back and non-box style, you have to put the wide body on it, just to say. Because yeah, this is one of those cases where the wide body not only gives it the wide body, it overhauls the looks to the car to some customizations that you can do to it, and this is one of them. There is other cars that do that as well. But yeah, here's the front flip and such, the side skirts in the back. So yeah, you can just take the whole thing off there, but yeah, I've already had that whole side. Make it a little short Japanese racer. Which is, these things are sick, I'm gonna say. These things are pretty cool at the end of the day. No doubt there is like cup races that are dedicated to this at the end of the day. Yep, and then your spoiler is a roof scoop, which not surprised. I mean, it is a mini semi truck. When you look at this, you come to realize that it looks like a mini Japanese truck at the end of the day, semi truck specifically. And that's the cool part when it comes to the Carry KC. The only problem is getting your whole body to fit into that truck is very difficult, let's say. Because they didn't really have room when it came to that one, but luckily there is like super carries in the future and such. Yeah, here's the front here, which you can take the whole thing, you can take the whole grill out, which I'm not sure why you would do that. I mean, then again, it normally has a, I think an inline 3 or V3. No, it's an inline 3. It's an inline 3 motor for what the Carry has, so I guess that's not bad for air in that case. But yeah. So here's the tune setup, which I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I need to do a bit more, because at the end of the day, you got a wiggly wobbly kind of truck with this motor. I might have to do the weight balance, what it kind of tells me next time, but for where it stands pretty good. Considering, I mean, look at the performance points on that, 631, good lord. That's high. For a cup racer that only hits 155, good lord. But yeah, here's the transmission, so make sure to pause this in case you want the exact measures. Yep, there you go, sir. This thing goes. Then of course I adjusted the, what did I adjust this to? Okay, so yeah, the rear's low while the front is high. Okay. In that part. But yeah, I had to raise the height for sure because this thing loosens up really bad, and the worst part is it still does. Then again, maybe it doesn't help with the weight balance being 50-50, because I know people say 50-50 is excellent, but there's a case where it's not. Especially if the motor is heavier. which I think with the 2 and 4 it might just be. But there's the detail in case you want the detail and such for the Suzuki Carry KC. Now Suzuki Carry KC with the 2 and 4 motor is badass. It's a crazy fun time with this truck, I will say. You can make a mini drift build with this little motor at the end there. Which I'm not sure that's the full intention, but as a time attack though, this thing is crazy fast. You're gonna see sometimes you wouldn't think you could hit normally with this little thing. It's kind of weird to say because you wouldn't think you'd be like really fast with this truck. This truck moves really freaking quick. If there is any trade-off you're gonna know is that it burns a lot of fuel in the process, or being as one of the quickest sprint trucks, period. And you're gonna be seeing a great example of that when we get to the race section. But for now, it's just the turning. Which, yeah, as the turning says, yeah, this thing is wiggly wobbly. It's not really great on the turning department, so you have to be careful on the throttle, and you have to be careful where you're dipped in because the truck will otherwise freak out. The stability is just not really that great at the end of the day. So if I had to say for turning for this case, which yeah, I will say I am changing how I'm going to talk about this. The turning I would say is like a 5 out of 10. It's there, but it's not the greatest. I mean, it's definitely not tame unlike the other ones we've done so far, for the most part. But yeah, the Suzuki Carry KC, which I just call it the Carry R in this case, because yeah, you might as well call it something different when you stick the 2 and 4 motor in it. Which, if you want to know the price of that motor, if you've seen in the parts, you'll see it says like 500,000. That's about as on right it kind of is. Maybe a bit more, maybe like 600,000 actually. But yeah, you can see how wild it is going through the turns though, and I gotta say that's also sick. While it is kind of bad, it also is kind of cool seeing a freaking truck just slide on in as a haul of ass at the end of the. Cause yeah, this truck is wild, man. Like it's super wild for the times and stuff, which is kind of weird, I gotta say, because I don't see the time on the side. You usually see the time on the side. That's weird and such. But yeah, this is basically me just doing 10 laps of Iger Nord one, trying to get around as quick as I can with the truck. In comparison to the Volkswagen Scirocco, which, yeah, I'm just going to say this flat out. It's definitely going to beat most of the competition on the times, for damn sure. Not even going to go. Oh, yeah, and the other competition will be the Jimny, too, because I forgot. The Jimny's second to highest one. So, yeah, if you thought the Jimny was crazy with the Swift motor, this is just as crazy. But just wait till later, because I do have another Jimny in the future here, because there is one Jimny. I'm going to let it slide, because technically it is still kind of the K body, but the motor's not. So, which is the Jimny Sierra. Yeah, him a minute 7.063. Good lord, that's quick. And the best part, that's not the best lap, surprisingly. Yeah, this is just a magnificent little time attack machine, I gotta say. But I say time attack rules, I would say as a race machine, this is like the ultimate cup race you can probably get. I would say in terms of Gran Turismo. To my standards, a little bit. To be that case, I guess the other one would be the Red Bull car. I'm thinking, specifically the Junior. And so, yeah, as we get around the Snake Way here, it feels like a snake way. So you're going back and forth, shooting across through the bridge and going on the climb back up. I think I've seen a joke. That's kind of like a Dragon Ball joke if you think about it. Down the Snake Way, across the bridge, going right up, roundabout. Oh my god, when I think about it, oh my god. I never really done that. Yeah, Dragon Ball sponsor, damn it. You know, good luck on that, it's totally. Yeah, as we go to the last roundabout here, in 103, 104, 105, 106.673. Alright. Yeah, now have the quickest cup contender. The Carry KC, everyone, with the 2 and 4 motor, which yeah, I gotta reassure that because sadly, the regular carry motor cannot compete. It's too slow, sadly, for the most part. But with the 2 and 4 motor, it says otherwise, which I'm really hoping for an engine swap for the Unimog, because I have an Unimog that looks really good. The problem is, it doesn't have a good motor, even though it's 227 horsepower. It just doesn't have enough oomph to really get into the cup position to me at the end of the day. And especially when I'm going to apply a new restriction in the future for those that still kind of don't know yet. But yeah, just to say, there plans to be a revamp for the tryouts, and this is just technically going to be one done, because I didn't want to turn around and scrap it. Doesn't feel right. So instead, I'm just going to do the rest of the cars and do it as my old style. While when we ever come back around, eventually, I'll do the new style and such. It's just taking forever to establish that ground at the end of it. And I also want to, you know, keep making more balancing adjustment, so some cars, like the very slow cars, you have to speed and such. But yeah, the Carry KC as a balanced car, though, very, very good, I gotta say. Really, very good for the most part. So yeah, in terms of climbing speeds, this car is very insane for the most part. Considering it almost hit 120 with 119 miles per hour on an Eiger Nordland climb and such. Just very crazy on that speed department, very crazy. And then as of going through Laguna Seca, not bad considering a minute 30.78. I think that's immediately the highest for the most part. Oh yeah, it is. The Jimny 1.31.230. This 130.78, and that's not the best lap either. Because I will say I tried to hit that 129. I hate to doom you guys or down you guys. I didn't, but it got close. It got ever closer, sadly. So yeah, I'm just gonna down you immediately though. I didn't do the 129, especially how wiggly wobbly this truck gets, especially around that turn right there, where I bounced on the freaking. Why do we have those? Those are freaking deadly as heck. I know it's to push back the car, but still. You don't want to make them flip over in the process either. So, you know. But yeah, that's the one thing I just never understand when it came to the bumps of Laguna Seca. It's like those very dangerous bumps. Hit those just right, you will freaking flip over. Unintentionally. Or unintentionally. So yeah, this is pretty bad on the design on that, I will say. The more I look at that. Yeah, mid 30.580. We're really just hitting those evens, aren't we? Surprisingly. Alright, so now on to the best lap here. Now, I better supposed to mention this too, because for cup racing, because yeah, after looking a bit for the Suzuki Carry KC, there technically isn't any, surprisingly. At best, you get track day racing and mini truck racing series too. At best over there in Japan. That's basically at best because Suzuki's intention was not ever to make just a racing machine, even though I'm gonna be honest, maybe you kinda should. A little bit. Although I would probably add some reinforcement to the front, at least, so that way in case they still happen to ram in the front, hopefully they don't fly out of the windshield. As the thing goes, because this, I mean, as the saying goes, it's based on the European Japanese trucks layout, Bobcat layout, and if there's a problem about the Bobcat layout is that not only the engine's located underneath you, but you can fly out that windshield, as the thing goes. Regardless how well it's designed on that department. But yeah, I will say there is another thing to mention too, which is the Suzuki Carry also somewhat replaced a Pacific truck when it comes to Gran Turismo, which is the Daihatsu Midge. I can't say the rest to that because it's a slur to small people. That's it goes. Its name is actually a slur to small people when it comes to Daihatsu. So instead I'm calling it the Midge. Fine with the T, so to say. Yeah, so that's best lap for the Carry KC in 130.508. But yeah, at best, what people technically do to turn around when it comes to these trucks is that they turn around and modify them to make them to any mini little track races at the end of the day, or as I said, the mini truck series, which I do recall that, and that is a pretty cool series. As you can say, I'm technically a big fan when it comes to K cars, and I would really love it if America influences into that at the end of the day. Like, well, don't want to burst my bubble, but it would be really cool if some American manufacturers get on that too. Like, example, I would say Ford, but not with that CEO. Dodge, not with that CEO. Chevy, probably not with that CEO. I don't know. They're weird sometimes. They did the Chevy Volt, but I would love to see someone turn around, make their own K truck, and see how well it goes from there. The only problem is we have a strict safety crash test over here, so if you really think the K vehicles are going to just jump over here immediately, you really have to think twice about that, because they need to go through the crash test, and they need to see if they survive at least some small hits, not big hits, because I don't expect to survive against a semi-truck. I'm sorry. You might most likely probably die. Sadly, especially how cramped that is in terms of design. Because yeah, that's the biggest problem about the Carry KC. However, the Carry KC does have a subtype that would probably most likely fix the Carry in the process, which is the Super Carry. If you haven't seen the Super Carry, I would suggest you do, because the Super Carry is basically a slightly much bigger of the Carry KC, made in mind more for the pedestrian means. So if you want a slightly bigger Carry, then you want the Super Carry. In that case, that's like the Jimny with the Jimny Sierra. The Jimny Sierra is a pedestrian response to not only Europe, but to make a production-based Jimny in general. Because, as saying goes, the K trucks are assigned to the K rules, so they're stuck with a 64 horsepower motor no matter what. And specifically a 660cc 64 horsepower motor. And I say loosely on that because sometimes they're like less of that. They're usually like 59 horsepower or 57 horsepower. But they usually get stuck with a turbo at the end of the, on top of it too. But I don't think for this one's case, I don't think this had a turbo or not when it came with it. And especially with the 2 and 4. 2 and 4 doesn't surprisingly 2 and 4 doesn't sub turbo, and if it did, that horsepower would probably jacked up to 400. I have a feeling. But we weren't able to know on that until someone turns around and actually does the actual bike motor to this, just to see how crazy it can get. Because I'm curious, but then again, bike motors are not really that efficient either, so especially when you put on more weight with 4 wheels and stuff, that could be a bit of a detriment on that department. But I will say, this is a V4 motor, so something to know. And it's like double the size of the regular Carry, which is 660 cc, jumped to like I think it was like 1200 or 1200 cc for it all. Okay, after looking at the 1023 cc, which also, yeah, that time, holy moly, 143.160 to 145 of the Swift, as to say. That's 2 seconds off. But yeah, here's the events that I can do at the end of the day, which is basically the Sunday Cups, the Japanese FR, because it is an FR. They could be an MR, but no, it's an FR. They put the motor in the front of the cab, surprisingly. And surprisingly, that's. And then the Japanese Clubman Cup 550, yeah, you can definitely do that. Sadly, can't do the turbo because you need a turbo. Yeah, they need to make a supercharger event in the future, I guess so. And an NA1 too, because I am curious on the NA1. Because yeah, that's the problem about Gran Turismo events. They haven't done a supercharger one, and they haven't did an NA1. If you're going to provide a turbo one, how about you provide the other two, please? But yeah, on that part. But yeah, otherwise there's the tournaments you can do with it. Which, yeah, you can do the Asia Oceania too, which, yeah, that's gonna blitz through that like no tomorrow. But anyways, on to the race here, which we are going to Tokyo Expressway south clockwise. So I did said that right the whole time. Okay. But at 16 laps, $220,000 against randos. Which, randos, I say loosely. We're going against supercars, yo. And I'll just say this, not just supercars, because there's two specific cars we're going to be seeing here in a bit here. But for now, we got our basic average supercars that is the Murcielago, because yeah, apparently this thing is that competitive against the Murcielago. Because yeah, just say, I didn't change anything. I didn't change my tires at all to change the performance. This is just how it is at the end of the day. Apparently the Suzuki Carry Casey is that freaking good. Everything goes. Which, yeah, if I had to say for final rankings, probably definitely an S. This thing is probably insane for the most part, especially on the sprinting side of things. When you see it do a minute 43 on this track alone, this thing is a monster for a racing machine, and probably more reason why I'm doing that regulation in the future. Because I'm just gonna say, I tested it around the brand hatch, and my regulation speed is gonna be 125 on that. It did 130. So yeah, it's super fucking quick. The Carry KC is a little monster of a track machine. Everyone who has been doing these track machines have every rest to do as a track machine, because Carry KC just does wonders that you could ever want at the end of the day as a time attack machine, and it's crazy to say that for something that you wouldn't think could be as aerodynamic. Well, actually, technically it's not. It's more like it just bury a body at the end of the day. It's just a cab and a frame, and then padding, which is the floorboards and the side skirts at the end of it. That's really it. And this thing is a monster in comparison. This matter of fact kind of defies that if you want a sports car or you want this at the end of the day. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I'll want this at the end of the day, because at least you can stick a fridge behind the back of it. Well, fucking hightailing it. As the thing goes. But there's a joke to be said, because whenever I look at a truck or just, any vehicle, can you stick a fridge in the back? There's a joke to be said. And yeah, I would say yeah, it has enough for right there. You can probably put straps on, so there you go. Even with that roll cage there, I would think it's fine, because I would think the back's pretty big there, the more I look at it. But yeah, we already got some contenders going in for fueling. Not surprised, it was a freaking Veyron, for God's sakes. But then again, he was also stupid, because as you've seen there, he still had more than half tank. He could still went going. But yeah, that's the biggest fundamental problem about this track here. The opponents don't know when to go in or not when it comes to this. So they think they should go in right now for this example. But yeah, we also got like a Charger Hellcat. Got a Roof RGT 4.2. It's not a bad machine. Although I will say the CTR3 is slaying the crap out of that car at the end of the day. You'll see here in a bit. You have the McLaren MP4, and then there's me just going on by. But yeah, I guess I really love that bed. Right? For the MP4, good God, and yeah, I hit him back. Oops. Then I got a Mercedes AMG GTR. Not a bad little machine. Very fun. And then the real opponent of this, because if you don't know about this car, you're about to get doomed, buddy. As the thing goes, because this is the Bach Mono. If you don't know what the Bach Mono is, it's a little track machine that has high endurance stats overall. If there's one thing the Bach Mono doesn't have, is speed, because it's just like a 230 horsepower, if I recall, EcoBoost motor. If I recall, it's a Ford EcoBoost motor and a little one single-seater track-built machine with sports medium tires, by the way. So yeah, these things haul ass. And those are my opponents, so to say. And I'm just gonna say, if it was an actual person, would beat me to the ground. But because they're AIs and they're dorks, I have a fighting chance. Let's see if I can pull it. I've seen you guys. But yeah, I also got the AMG GTS giving chase. He's not gonna last that long though, sadly. much as I kind of want to volunteer to say, yeah, he's gonna last forever, guys. He's pretty good. And then we also have the GTR Z-Tune too, so there's a million or $1.5 million freaking car there, like no reason. Even though I will admit it is one of probably the best modified GTRs, perhaps, maybe, especially with the cool brake lights. Even though it's technically GTR headlights, even though or GTR backlights, but they're changed. Or the lighting's changed, I would say, in them. But I still say I'm machinist, which yeah. So, as you probably noticed, I did the start of 5 minutes for this race. Cause yeah, I'm still doing the 10 minutes. This, well, somewhat 10 minutes. I think I did up to a bit more. I think it's like 12 minutes now. But I decided to show at least the first half, and then the last bit, or not. Well, it's not technically half either. It's like more like a quarter. So I showed you at least the first quarter, and I'm gonna show you the last quarter, basically. But yeah, over time, the Bachmanos, luckily, which I say luckily on this, because yeah, the fuel thing really screwed them over, I'll just say this, because their fuel is about as much as me at the end of the day, yet they go way faster than I do at the end of the day, on top of it. Because yeah, they go about 1:36. I only go about 1:41 in this case. Cause yeah, at some point I do pull a very fast lap, so this thing could go even faster than 1:43. There's a possibility, but you need that draft boost and everything else though in order to achieve it. So yeah, there's a possibility in the world to achieve a really crazy fast time. But yeah, you just see all these cars doing like 1:45, 1:40, 1:38 in the Veyron's case, although he burned fuel like no tomorrow and he's only on one, what was it, lap? Was that lap 10? Good God. We're at lap 13, or technically on lap 14. But yeah, the back miles, yeah, they can just literally, they could pass me any day. They just keep getting blocked by me at the end of the day as such. And I say barely blocked because I was hoping like maybe they pass at some point and just take the long way around the turn, but no, they didn't do that. They kept getting to my rear and just stopped. Why are you stopping? But yeah, they could easily just beat my ass to a pulp if they really wanted to. They just chose not to. It's just, anytime a straight is given, which in this case is this straight and that straight, they start having advantage. But when it comes to turns though, that's where my advantage comes in. Because yeah, at turns, I still at least do out-excel them, at least in the pace. Because yeah, that's the best I'm gonna get out of the such. Yeah, just looking at the other racers and stuff. Cause yeah, here's what happens here in a bit here. Cause yeah, the daylight's about to come rolling in too. Now you get to see it back to being daytime. Cause yeah, it started at sunset, goes in the night, and then ends on a daytime. But yeah, as we can see here, and they're pitting. Why are they pitting? They have the same amount of fuel as I do. That's the one thing I never understand. Why the heck did they pit it? Cause yeah, just to say, that amount right there is the same amount I have right now in the Carry KC. 25 was that amount. So I don't understand. Maybe the AI can't just play chicken, but even though I say chicken loosely, they would have enough fuel for that. It doesn't make any sense at the overall. But yeah, basically, when Suzuki Carry KC for the win. At the end of the day, it wins. You know, I'm just gonna say it should have won that. At all. At all. Cause yeah, those block miles would have destroyed me. I just went with it because I knew a fundamental flaw about that. That and I really wanted to challenge the supercars, but I got those instead, so it's like, should I exit out and not deal with these guys? Because yeah, anytime you see these block miles, they are the super threats. They are the track machines that are usually hidden when it comes to custom races and stuff. Because yeah, you don't see these block models when it comes with the supercars because they know better not to toss those in there. But when it comes to the custom events though, then they toss the block models in there. I don't know what to say at the end of it. Now I'm looking at a list of cars here because yeah, I just remember, like, I should probably mention what other kinds of Suzukis I could add in the future as we scroll along to the final lap here. And the first one is the obvious one. It's the Suzuki AltaWorks RSR and RSZ. Yeah, those are immediately like one of the K cards to add in GT7 in the future, and hopefully that happens and they didn't get effed over by Sony as well. Concerning the whole crisis and stuff. But yeah, I won't talk a whole bit about that. The next car will be the Suzuki K-Works, which I believe that's the newer AltaWorks at the end of the day. The 2002, if I recall, yeah, as it's shown here on the AI thing to me. Yeah, of course I'm using AI for this. Oh boy, AI bad. Same goes. Except for this case, where I actually kind of need some advice for like, what cars in the future to say to add, because this is handy for this occasion. But then you got Suzuki Wagon R, which I forgot about that. There's a big old van that Suzuki had, which I think that was in 6, if I recall. Then some special ones like the Suzuki Mighty Boy, the Suzuki Fonte Coupe, then the Suzuki Auto Weapon SS. So, oh, and the Suzuki Hustler Turbo. That could be the other one that could add in the future. But yeah, there's a bunch of K cars that Suzuki could add in the future. I do hope they end up being in participation as well. But that basically wraps up for the race for the Suzuki Carry KC, a monstrous little track machine. So tune in next time when I do the Aston Martin V8 Vantage Grade 4. So until then, folks, I hope you enjoyed what you've seen here, and ciao. Thanks for watching, and see you the next time.